Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're heading straight into the heart of Bollywood.
Bollywood.
Whee! But not the glitz and glam you see on screen. We're getting into the nitty-gritty, the business of Bollywood,
Right.
with Shemaroo Entertainment's latest earnings call transcript.
Oh, interesting.
Their Q3 for fiscal year 25, to be precise.
Okay.
Now, these guys, they're huge in Indian entertainment.
Yeah.
Not just for their massive film library, but their digital platforms, too. And those platforms, let me tell you, they are booming right now.
It's kind of wild, right? You got this legacy company,
Yeah.
like a true pillar of the industry.
Absolutely.
And they're having to figure out how to stay relevant.
Right. When the way people watch stuff is changing so fast.
Exactly. It's a classic challenge.
It is. And this earnings call, well, it's giving us a peek behind the curtain.
Oh, I like that.
One thing that really stood out to me
Yeah.
was their revenue numbers. For the
No.
quarter, up a bit, not bad. But over the 9-month period, revenue's down.
That is a bit of a head scratcher.
It is. It's like, what's the real story here?
Well, you always got to look at the trends, right?
Exactly.
One good quarter doesn't mean you're out of the woods.
Right. And if there's a dip over a longer period,
Yeah.
gotta dig into the why.
Absolutely. Can't just ignore it.
Okay, so digging deeper, they reported losses
Loss.
for both the quarter and the 9 months.
Oh, that's not good.
Is that like panic button time, or is it too early to say?
I mean, losses are never a good sign,
Sure.
especially for investors, you know.
Yeah.
Makes them nervous, especially if it keeps happening.
And here's the thing. They're trying to reduce their debt, too,
Debt, oh yeah,
by like a lot INR 100 crores over the next 2 years.
ambitious.
So
Uh,
are these losses going to make that debt reduction harder?
oh, definitely something to think about.
Right.
If they don't turn things around quickly,
Yeah.
might have to make some tough choices.
Like what?
Selling off assets, maybe, or restructuring the whole business.
Wow.
Neither of those are easy, and they could really shake things up.
Okay, so we've got this puzzle, right?
I'm puzzled, yeah.
Revenue's up and down, they're losing money, but trying to ditch debt.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's their digital success.
Right, the digital side,
Those platforms are doing well.
especially the Gujarati content.
So how does that fit into this whole picture?
That's the bright spot for sure.
Yeah.
It shows they're not just reacting to trends,
Okay.
they're actually being smart about it,
Smart how?
capitalizing on this growing demand for regional content.
Makes sense, right?
It is. It's a really savvy way to diversify their revenue.
Especially when their traditional media revenue is shrinking.
Exactly. It's like they're hedging their bets a bit.
Right. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Not at all. And it goes beyond just following trends.
Oh.
Look at their B2B syndication business.
B2B syndication. Okay.
It's doing incredibly well, particularly with the Gujarati content.
So what's that tell us?
It means they're not just making content, they're distributing it effectively.
Ah. So it's not just luck. They're actually good at this.
Yeah, that's business smarts, not just riding a wave.
I like that, business smarts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of challenges,
Mm-hmm.
they mentioned this festive season slump.
Oh, right, the advertising market.
Weak advertising during a time when people usually spend a lot.
That's a big deal.
How big?
Think of it like a warning sign.
A warning sign.
Yeah, it could mean a broader economic slowdown,
Oh, wow.
which would be bad news for Shemaroo, especially their traditional side.
Right, because they rely so much on advertising.
Exactly.
So even their digital wins might not be enough to make up for that, at least not right away. It creates this tension.
Tension.
Yeah, between their old business and the new one.
Okay, I'm seeing that.
And their inventory write-offs. They add to that tension even more.
Right, they've been getting rid of a lot of inventory.
A lot.
That has to be impacting their financials somehow.
Oh, it definitely does.
House write-offs mean they're basically admitting some of their stuff has lost value.
Like what?
Maybe some films in their library just aren't popular anymore.
Right, just gathering dust.
Or it could be strategic.
Strategic.
Yeah, like they're moving away from certain types of content.
Oh, to focus more on what's working digitally.
Exactly. But either way, it raises questions about their long-term plan.
So maybe not all the stuff they're writing off is just old and useless.
Could be part of this bigger shift towards digital.
Okay, that's a more optimistic way to look at it.
It is, but even then, those write-offs are still a financial hit.
Right, it adds another layer to this whole situation.
It does.
Okay, so lots to think about here.
Lots.
Declining revenue in one area, rapid growth in another,
Yeah.
debt they need to manage, tough decisions about their inventory,
Right.
and then they launch DBUM.
DBUM.
Yeah, their new Tamil devotional service.
Oh,
Where does that fit in?
That seems like another move towards specialized content.
Specialized, okay.
Yeah, targeting niche audiences.
Risky, right?
It is, but it could pay off big time.
How so?
If they can cater to specific groups
Yeah,
with content they can't get anywhere else.
right.
They could build a really loyal following.
Interesting. So less reliance on the mainstream market.
Exactly, which is getting more and more competitive.
Okay, so we've unpacked a lot, even just from this first part.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is the most important thing for our listener to understand?
About Shemaroo's position right now.
Yeah, like the key takeaway.
I think it's this tension between their legacy,
Legacy.
their history in traditional media,
Right, decades of it.
and their future, their push into the digital world.
It's like they're balancing on a tightrope.
They are, and whether they can pull it off,
Yeah,
well, that's the million-dollar question.
it is, and that's what we're going to explore next.
Can't wait.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dissect the analyst Q&A.
Oh, the juicy stuff.
Exactly. We'll see what the experts are asking about Shemaroo's future.
Should be good. The analyst Q&A always gets me excited.
Right, like peeking behind the curtain.
Totally. You see what the pros are really thinking.
So what were they focused on this time?
Well, those inventory write-offs were a hot topic.
Makes sense. We were kind of speculating about those.
Right, like, is this just cleaning house or a bigger strategy?
Because on the surface, it doesn't look great.
Exactly. So management, they tried to reassure everyone
What'd they say?
that it's all part of streamlining, focusing on high-profit stuff.
Getting rid of the dead weight kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly.
But did the analysts buy it?
Some more than others. There were tough questions
Like what?
about which assets were written off, how they valued them, and if this is a one-time thing or going to happen again.
So, still some uncertainty there.
Yeah, definitely.
What about the debt reduction plan? That was ambitious.
Oh, they grilled them on that.
I bet. 100 crores in 2 years is a lot.
Especially with their current financials, right?
Yeah, so what's the plan?
No magic bullet, but they're banking on two things.
Okay, I'm listening.
Continued digital growth, that's one,
Makes sense.
and revenue from those deferred TV syndication deals.
Ah, right, they mentioned those.
So double down on digital and hope the TV stuff works out.
Sounds risky.
The analysts thought so too.
What'd they say?
Pointed out that digital's still a small part of the business.
Right, they're not there yet.
And those TV deals, not guaranteed, could fall through.
High risk, high reward kind of thing.
Exactly.
Speaking of high reward, their Gujarati content is killing it.
Oh, yeah. The analysts were all over that.
I bet, trying to understand what's making it work.
They were asking about the audience, the content strategy, the competition.
A lot of curiosity there.
Tons. And, of course, how much bigger it can get.
Must have been music to Shemaroo's ears.
Oh, yeah. But they were cautious, too.
Cautious.
Didn't want to seem like they're putting all their eggs in one basket.
Right, smart move.
Stress that they're still diversifying, exploring new stuff.
Always got to have a plan B.
Exactly.
Now, what about that GST issue?
It did come up, but not the main focus.
Oh.
Management gave a quick update, said they're waiting on the authorities.
So, still up in the air.
Yep.
Anything else interesting from the Q&A?
Actually, yeah.
What's that?
Someone asked about employee costs. They jumped in Q3.
Ooh, sensitive topic when you're trying to cut costs.
Right. But they had a good explanation.
What was it?
One-time bonuses for Diwali, a big holiday in India.
Ah, makes sense.
Assured everyone it was temporary, costs would stabilize.
Okay, so not a red flag.
Nope.
Any overall vibes from the Q&A? Anything unsaid?
I'd say cautious optimism.
Cautious optimism.
Yeah, they see the challenges, but also the potential.
Makes sense given the industry they're in.
Exactly.
All right, so in part 3, we're stepping back.
The big picture.
What does Shemaroo's story tell us about the future of entertainment?
And what can our listener learn from it?
Okay, so we've been through a lot with Shemaroo.
We have financials, operations, the analyst's take, the whole shebang.
It's like putting together a puzzle, right? All these pieces.
Yeah, and now we got to see what the full picture looks like.
Exactly. So what's the key takeaway here? The headline for their story.
I'd say it's a tale of two companies, almost.
2 companies. Okay, I'm intrigued.
On one side, you've got this legacy player.
Right. A giant in Indian entertainment.
Exactly. Decades of experience, tons of content.
The old guard, basically.
Yeah, but on the other side,
Yeah.
they're facing this huge disruption.
The whole digital wave crashing over everything.
Exactly, and it's affecting the whole media landscape, not just them.
It's like they're trying to stand in 2 worlds at once.
That's a great way to put it, and that tension.
Yeah.
It came through loud and clear in this earnings call.
I felt it too. Like they're making these big moves.
Right, going digital, focusing on regional content, trying new stuff.
But they're also dealing with these challenges.
Financial pressures, regulations, and that big question about their strategy.
Can they really make this transformation work?
It's a tough balancing act. They need results now.
Yeah, got to keep the lights on.
But they also need a vision for the long term.
Where they want to be in 5, 10 years.
Exactly. And I think that's the real lesson here.
The lesson.
You can't just rely on past success, on what worked before.
The world's changing too fast for that.
Way too fast. You got to be proactive, anticipate the changes.
And adapt quickly.
Exactly. The entertainment industry is evolving constantly.
The ones who don't evolve.
They get left behind. Simple as that.
It's survival of the fittest, but fitness in this case means
being agile, innovative, focused on the customer.
Shemaroo seems to get that.
They do, but can they actually do it?
Overcome the challenges, become this digital powerhouse.
That's the big question mark. And here's the thing.
What's that?
This isn't just about one company.
It's bigger than that.
Way bigger. It's about an entire industry shifting.
Traditional media fading, digital taking over.
And everyone's trying to figure out what that means for them.
So why should our listener care about this?
Because it's a glimpse into the future of entertainment.
For investors, consumers, anyone who enjoys a good movie.
It shows us how we'll be watching things, how companies are adapting.
And what the future might hold for all of us.
It's a reminder that change is constant.
Those who embrace it.
They have the best chance to thrive, to really succeed.
Love that. So we're closing this deep dive on Shemaroo.
A fascinating story, even if it's not over yet.
And the lessons they learn.
They could impact all of us in ways we can't even imagine yet.
So to our listeners, keep an eye on Shemaroo.
Their journey's far from over.
And who knows? What they learn might just change the world.
It just might.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
It's been a pleasure.